Nearly just 24 hours away from kicking off the 2025 season, the Pirates of ECU sail their way into Raleigh, North Carolina. The Wolfpack must maintain the high ground to make the Pirates walk the plank.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's Monarch like the butterfly, money like the money, monarchmoney.com using code LOCKEDONCollege, 50% off of your first year. Happy Wednesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. We're inching closer to 24 hours away from kicking off the 2025 season. Today's episode on Wednesday, we will be discussing the ECU Pirates. Now, getting into some early storylines here, we know about the Military Bowl because the Pirate fan made sure to tell us about it every single day over the course of the summer. Obviously, since that game occurred back in December, we know. And as Wolfpack fans, we're tired of hearing it. We've had enough of the Pirate talk. We're just simply waiting to put the ball down and prove what we feel like we have to prove. We're the superior team. NC State purely let one get away in the Military Bowl. You've had to pay the consequences, but now, finally, we have our chance at some get back.
You can't let this one slip away. This is the tone setter for the season.
Absolutely.
That is a team that is going to be down their offensive coordinator as well, apparently. And we are supposed to be allegedly, of course. Allegedly. Yes, that's a good call, Grayson. Good call. That is down there, offensive coordinator, supposedly, allegedly, however you want to cut or slice that thing. But with that being said, you've got to set the tone for the season right here. You've got to set the tone early for we have built in the darkness. This is not about nonsense. This is not about flash and dash, because last offseason was very flashy. We made some big splashes. We made some really big splashes in the portal. Those splashes, some of them worked out, some of them didn't. This season, building in darkness, building in quiet. And as the old saying goes, what's done in the dark will come to the light. It's time for whatever they built in the offseason and all that darkness and all that media blackout and all that nobody can see anything. It's time for it to come to light.
Before we get into the offense and the defense for the Pirates, we're still talking some overview. Last season in 2024 is pretty tumultuous. You talk about a 3-3 start to open the year. You fire your head coach at the midpoint of the season. You promote your defensive coordinator, who is Blake Harrell, now the current head coach. He had the interim tag and got the promotion after beating NC State in the bowl game. And you can't sugarcoat it. He did a hell of a job. 3-3 in their first 6 games to turn around and go 5-2 in their final 7 games. That's an outstanding job. When you're dealing with that much struggle and you do fire your head coach, it can be a complete yard sale for the remainder of the season. It'd be so easy to quit, and he found a way to rally the troops and get that thing right back on track. That, to me, that reads like they had a culture problem before the firing. Looks like it certainly got cleaned up quick, fast, and in a hurry once Harrell took over. And then, obviously, they capitalized the end of their season with beating NC State, and that is the sting that has stung now for nearly 9 months. Kenton, how do you view ECU coming into this matchup after what we witnessed last year?
They're a good team that's going to take us showing up and executing the beat. I wouldn't say this game is going to require NC State to be flying at the highest clip imaginable. They have to play out of their minds to win this game. I would not say that is where ECU is as a team. That is not where NC State is as a team. But I am saying you have to show up, you have to execute, and I am telling you all this right now. I mean this with everything in my heart and soul. If we have a situation similar to last year, where we have Hollywood Smothers gashing him every time he touches the ball, and Kurt Roper decides, oh, well, I don't think he needs the ball anymore, I will be in attendance at Carter Finley. I'll be there. And I'm going to tell you right now The state troopers can go ahead and walk me out now. They go ahead and walk me out now. They go ahead and bet. I'm joking. That is not a threat. I am joking, everybody. But in all seriousness, this is a game where you got to let your stars be stars. You have to let your stars do the thing and show like, hey, ECU's got a couple good players. Yeah, for sure. But there's a reason that we are who we are and y'all are who y'all are. And it's time to establish that. It's time to lay that down and say, hey, this is it. This is it. Sometimes, there's a moment where that little kid on the block who like wanted to be like you real bad, and when they realized that you weren't going to be their friend, start resenting you. It comes a moment where you don't want to hurt the kid, but you just got to put him down and say, hey, knock it off, dude. It's that time. Put ECU down. Hey, knock it off. This ain't that, and that ain't this, and let it be there.
Two things I think you said extremely well. Number one, NC State is not good enough to overlook ECU because they are a scrappy team. They have the ability to beat you on the road, at home, neutral site. If you mess around, you play around, they're going to figure out a way to beat you. And to our knowledge, that's exactly what we witnessed in the Military Bowl. The second point is, so for NC State, your best players, you got to show up. No matter what, you have got to show up. CJ Bailey, you got to play well. Hollywood Smothers, you got to play well. And hopefully you actually play him, in fact, as well. So Justin Jolie, you got to show up. The defense now under defensive coordinator DJ Elliott, hopefully we don't give up 320 whatever yards it was on the ground. Think about that for a second. That was blasphemy. Still is to this day. The defense, at least you hope, can be an improvement over that. And that kind of leads me into some of the comments that we already talked about from Coach Jordan at ACC Kickoff. He said that the Military Bowl was the most embarrassing moment of his entire coaching career. I want to see an NC State team that plays like that on Thursday night. You better come out and let them feel how embarrassed you were to ensure it ain't ever going to happen again. You will never get pushed around for pretty much 3/4 of the game, then take the lead back only to piss down your leg and give away a game in totality. It was flat out embarrassing. And so for NC State, there has to be a real element of urgency to prove yourself and get that get back. That is the main storyline for NC State. In addition to what we've already said several times this offseason, for right now, this is the biggest game of the season. This is the tone setter supreme. If you lose this game, it might be game one and you still got 11 behind it, but this game, after how last season ended and the expectations on this season, you better not lose this one. You cannot lose this one. This is one of the most important games of the season, not because it's ECU, but all the other context involved as well.
You come out there with your hair on fire. Be pissed to the highest level of pistivity in this one. Do not let this team get an inch. Do not let this team breathe. Do not. I try to tell people this all the time, and folks don't understand. And even when I was younger, I didn't understand. I just followed marching orders because that's what I was told to do. Coach Thomas Butcher used to tell us all the time, that team thinks that they can play with y'all. That team thinks that they're going to have their little Giants moment where they play their best game and they come out on top thanks to the annexation of Puerto Rico. Well, you know how that happens? When you let teams hang around.
That's right.
When you let them play with you, they start to believe they can play with you. But when you go out there and do what you need to do, you set the tone early for, hey, you're stuck on this field with me for the next hour. You are stuck right here. There is every place in the world you want to be, literally anywhere else, anywhere imaginable on earth you'd rather want to be than on this field with me. Unfortunately for you, you have the grave responsibility, the chore, if you will, of dealing with me until the ref blows that final whistle. That's the mentality that this team needs to have. It doesn't need to be, it's just another game, it's business, da-da-da. Sure, you can go with the it's just another game model if you look at every game as if it's life or death, as if everything depends on this, as if this is the difference between feeding your family or not. Because, like I've said before, we are not good enough to say, oh, we're going to really try for Clemson, but not this game. Heaven forbid. So come on out, do what you got to do. Leave no doubt from the opening kickoff. Leave no doubt on who's who and what's what.
It's about setting the tone, not just for the season, but in this game in particular, extremely early on. Let them know from the opening kick what type of time it is. Burn the boats, as we told you yesterday. That is the mantra for this opening game. NC State still currently is a 13.5-point favorite over the Pirates. Thursday night kick, 7 p.m. in Carter-Finley. Coming up next, we're getting into the details of ECU's offense. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Wednesday sponsor is Monarch Money. Most people can't even name all their financial accounts or what they're worth. Whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments, when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That is where Monarch Money comes into play. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your phone or your laptop. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for your convenience. You can link all of your accounts in just minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending, finally feeling in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can use Monarch to maximize your investments, increase your savings rate, easily review your finances with your partner, and keep a clear view of your financial health from week to week and or long term. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off of your first year at Monarch like the butterfly, money like the money, monarchmoney.com using code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, only at monarchmoney.com. Our second Wednesday sponsor is FanDuel. We certainly hope you didn't miss out yesterday, August 26th, for FanDuel Futures Day. I was able to take advantage of several of their bonus promotions, and this is a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. I happened to sprinkle a little bit on Josh Allen to repeat as NFL MVP. I even threw in some college football bets, some win total over-unders. I love Nebraska, but that's just advice from me. This is the moment for football fans near and far. FanDuel is the place to win more this football season. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Futures Day was yesterday, but you still have time to get those in before football season officially starts. FanDuel, play your game. We also have an important request from Locked On. We want to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts all the more better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, and answer questions about all of our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey in order to get started. Everyone who completes this survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in our show notes. Thanks for helping us out. Middle portion of our Wednesday show. Now time to get into some of the details of ECU's offense. We know their quarterback, Katin Houser, returns for the Pirates this year. We've also heard some comments in the media by former quarterback Holton Ahlers about who he would favor in terms of this matchup of quarterback play. For those that haven't seen it, maybe I'll put it in here. Here's the clip.
Offensive coordinator now, who was their quarterback coach last year. So I just think it's one of those situations, quarterback-wise, where if you the matchup, we should win that every single time with Katin Houser. Now, if you look at the bowl game, if you look at just the stats, C.J. Bailey might have had the better game, but Katin managed the game better. And when Katin needed to make plays, he made plays. C.J. Bailey was another type in the bowl game where, you didn't know he had a good game until after the game. When you look at the stats, you're like, oh, that quarterback actually, had a decent game. You got to have, an it factor about you during a game. And, I believe Katin has that compared to C.J. Bailey. I think we win that matchup.
Katin Houser last season for ECU completed 149 of 245 passing attempts, a 60.8% completion percentage, 19 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions. 2 of those were in the Military Bowl. Actually, both of those were in the hands of Tamarcus Cooley. Last season, Katin Houser also ran 49 times for 170 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Regrettably, he had 13 carries for 84 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns just in the Military Bowl. So Katin Houser obviously is a very capable quarterback. He can do it on the ground. He can also beat you through the air. I wouldn't say he's going to light the world on fire, but Kenton, what are your thoughts on Holton Ahlers' comments about being a better game manager than C.J. Bailey?
There is not a single thing on a football field, not a damn thing, not running the ball, not throwing the ball, not the deep ball, not timing and anticipation, not making. I get it. That's your guy. and you got to roll with them, right? This is like if somebody asks you who's prettier, your old lady or Meg Thee Stallion, right? You gotta sit there and, oh yeah, my lady's beautiful and she could. Have you had her pot roast, Grayson? You ain't had her pot roast. That's what you don't understand. I get it. This almost made me lose this show's clean rating because there is not a single thing that young man does better than C.J. Bailey. C.J. Bailey has a liver arm. C.J. Bailey has better timing. C.J. Bailey throws his passes with touch better. When he is throwing a bullet pass, it jumps off his hand. You know what? I'll take that back. ECU's quarterback does have a more aesthetically pleasing delivery. There you go. I'll give him that. But in terms of what happens when the ball actually leaves one's hand, or in terms of what happens when you decide to pull the ball down and run, I'm trying to find it. I'm going to just say this. If that defense don't feel disrespected, if CJ Bailey don't feel disrespected, maybe I'm covering the wrong team and maybe I'm the wrong guy to do it. Because you don't talk about my quarterback like this and think that, oh, don't worry about it. We'll see you. We'll see you when we see you, baby boy. Hey, and when you do it, go ahead and blame the old quarterback too. Go ahead. Hey, tell your boy Ahlers, pick your mans up. Teach him how to squabble next time. You know, that's what I would be saying. But I digress. I don't have too much for that outside of we have watched both of these guys play the game of football. And I'm going to leave it at that.
My official stance is we'll see. Now, moving forward into the rushing attack, we know about Rajai Harris. Thank God he graduated. He killed us in that last play of the Military Bowl. Won't have to see him this year. He has moved on. But who they do have is London Montgomery and Marlon Gunn Jr., two returners. However, they were effectively RB2 and RB3 for the Pirates last season, taking on a much larger workload as Rajai Harris actually shouldered 206 carries by himself last year, so he was the clear-cut RB1. But the main point of emphasis for the ECU offense, far and away, is their wide receiving room. We know about Anthony Smith, former Wolfpack wide receiver, now in his second year with the ECU Pirates. Speed like you can only dream of. He can absolutely go get a ball. Something we will more than likely have to keep an eye on very early out of this game. It wouldn't be surprising at all if ECU tries to take the top off the defense and make a statement. But they also picked up a very intriguing transfer. That's Jaquays Petaway, wide receiver from Oklahoma, former four-star wide receiver. Again, blessed with pure athletic speed. He'll probably be their slot wide receiver. And that's before you get to Yannick Smith, another returner in that wide receiving room. Extremely talented, probably, like, without exaggeration, might be one of the better wide receiving rooms we'll see all year. And that's about as big of a compliment as I can give them. They can absolutely go get it. They can fly past you. And Kenton, that presents a very large opportunity in just game one for this new look Wolfpack secondary.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It presents a big opportunity to show that you can do it. It also presents big risk of getting burned like yesterday's toast, okay? It presents good risk. But there is a reward to be had at the end of this kind of pot of gold here. I'm going to tell you something. When you talk about this offense, it starts and ends with the receivers. Although last year when we played this team, you know, one thing that I've often said about the Wolfpack, don't let somebody become a star on your dime. Exactly. Rajai Harris was in college for 5 years. Grayson, guess how many games he averaged more yards per rush than he did in the bowl game?
0.
Correct. 0. Well, you know, so what? That's just yards per rush. And, you know, sometimes it works out that way, Grayson. Sometimes you just look up and all of a sudden a guy's had a couple good rushes or a couple good runs, and that makes him look like he's a lot better than he is on that day. So I want to ask you another question, Grayson. How many times in his career before that game in which he went for 220, how many times in his career do you think he went for 200 or more before that game?
I'm going to go with 0 again.
0 again. And you are correct, Grayson. Not one time in his entire career before that did he ever go for 200. So I looked at that game, I looked at that situation, and I said, wow, we really turned that young man into a superstar overnight. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. These wide receivers are that good to where if Anthony Smith burns you, that's not a superstar overnight. That's a guy that I ranted and raved about and was deeply sad to see depart from the program because I knew what was there. I watched the film and said, oh, there's something here. That kid's going to be a baller somewhere. And even with as good as our receiver room is now, I'd love to have a guy like him back. But, that ain't how the cookie crumbles. The reality of this thing is simple. It's very, very simple to me. Do not let any more stars be created in this game.
And I'll tell you exactly how you can prevent stars from emerging in this game. Get into the backfield. Force pressure on both Caden Hauser, the quarterback, and whoever they're running out there at running back, probably London Montgomery. If Caden Hauser doesn't have time to diagnose the defense and have time to find an Anthony Smith streaking down the field or Yannick Smith, whoever it may be, that is where the advantage is Wolfpack. That is where you can force pressure, force mistakes, force turnover, flip the field, and that's how you play complementary football. Something that we just couldn't find a way to do enough of last year. If you get Caden Hauser in trouble early in this game, you get the crowd going, the NC State offense is going, you may be able to take them out of this game early, but you have got to get home and force the quarterback to have a rough night. And obviously more in depth tomorrow when we talk about Kenton's keys, but coming up next, we're also going to talk about the ECU defense. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our third Wednesday sponsor is SupplyHouse. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, SupplyHouse has next-day delivery. You talk about a game changer right there. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can also save you hours on jobs where every single detail matters. Their Trademaster perks, priority shipping, and dedicated support make the whole process that much smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off of your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Last couple minutes of our Wednesday show, now spending a little bit of time on the ECU defense. Something I find interesting about ECU and NC State this season is they both have very similar storylines. They have some offensive talent that they're excited about, and the defense is replacing a lot of pieces. In fact, ECU only returns 2 defensive stars. They were ravaged by the transfer portal. They lost some of their top talents. They're leveling up some guys that were in the 2 deep from last season. But ECU, like NC State, they have a lot of guys they have to replace. And Blake Harrell obviously was the defensive coordinator before he got leveled up into the head coaching role. So you kind of felt the energy shift for ECU in the back half of their season. They were a little bit more defensive minded. They played a little bit tougher. And I do expect that to carry over into this season. But Kenton, with the turnover rate as high as it is for the ECU defense, is that something the NC State offense can take advantage of?
Oh, absolutely. At the end of the day, when you return so few players on defense, even if everybody knows the scheme and knows all things, how many of those guys saw live bullets at a high clip? How many of those guys played relevant snaps when the games were in the balance and it actually mattered? That's the biggest question that you're going to have there. This defense is absolutely pliable. You need to exploit your matchups on the edges. Returning 2 starters means that of all the guys who were playing good snaps last year, all the guys who saw all the talent that they did last year, only 2 of them have that experience at a high clip. And even if we tripled it to say, well, defenses rotate a lot, so there are probably guys on the roster who were not listed as starters but played a good amount. That's 6 guys. That still leaves half of your defense either being brand new by way of the portal or by way of recruiting. You're looking at a situation where everybody has not played relevant snaps. Imagine being a guy that hasn't played relevant snaps and lining up across from Noah Rogers. Imagine being a guy who hasn't played relevant snaps and you have to tackle Hollywood Smothers. Doesn't sound ideal, does it? Doesn't sound like you're going to have a good time. So I look at NC State in this one and I say you have to absolutely identify and attack the new pieces on this defense.
And not just that, but something we've already harped on. For NC State, your best players have to be your best players. That means CJ Bailey has a much better game than he had against ECU in the bowl game. And to be honest, like, CJ didn't play that bad outside of maybe taking too long to make a couple reads. He did throw that bad interception at the very end, took a couple costly sacks, but all things considered, CJ had a decent game against them last season. He was 19 of 26 for 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he did have that very costly interception to end the game. Had a couple moments of holding on to the ball too long. We hope that was just freshman mistakes, and a lot of that got cured over the course of the offseason. But long story short, for NC State, what you didn't see last year was Hollywood Smothers be your main back, at least for all 4 quarters of the game, because he tore it up in the first half and then doesn't play in the third quarter. How that happens is still beyond our comprehension. But you feel really good about when you do have a Hollywood Smothers in the mix and you can utilize them correctly. Same goes for Justin Jolie, Noah Rogers, Wesley Grimes. It feels like one of the largest advantages in this game is NC State's offense against ECU's defense. They do have a high turnover rate in terms of players they have to replace. Not saying they're going to be devoid of talent, because to Kenton's point, a lot of them are still familiar with the scheme and they'll be ready to go. But for NC State, it'll be eliminating the same mistakes that you made last season. That's being able to extend drives, not going 3 and out and punting. That first half was disgusting work. Robert and I, never mind, I'll leave that there. But for Kurt Roper, just let your guys be your guys. Let your stars be your stars. Utilize your best players, get them into space, because we do believe the rest will take care of itself.
Absolutely. If you get the ball to Jolie in space, if you get the ball to Hollywood in space, if you get it to Noah, Wesley, I mean, the entire gang in space, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. If you get creative with how you get these guys the ball, they'll be fine. But if we're going in with the thought of, oh, we're so much better than them, oh, we can just kind of mosey along, oh, everything will be fine, it won't be. It won't be. Again, I am a big proponent of, if you want rivalry, if you want smoke, let's do it. Let's do it. I got the smoker out back fired up, and we running that thing with some very good, and when I say very good, I mean very good applewood. So you know, it's going to leave a little bit of a taste on the meat that we simmering back there as well. So I'm telling you right now, do not take this game lightly if you are NC State. Do not take this game lightly if you are Kurt Roper, if you are DJ Elliott, if you are Dave Doran. This is the tone setter. This is a game that should be over by the middle of the third quarter at latest. You should be having guys play that you know are going to redshirt, but you're like, hey, get out there. Show me what you can do for a couple drives, and then, you know, sit it on down.
The 2 biggest names to watch for ECU on defense, in my opinion, will be Jamarly Riddle at safety and Raheem Craig at linebacker. Ironically enough, they are also the 2 returning starters for the ECU Pirates. So a little bit of detail into the ECU offense and the defense and overall storylines for you here on Wednesday. Coming up tomorrow, we have Kenton's Keys, we have game predictions, and we have game day on Thursday. Can you believe it? The 2025 season is merely just 24 hours away. That'll do it for us here on Wednesday. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box. Give us your thoughts on the overall storylines for the ECU Pirate game here in Game 1. Tell us your thoughts on the ECU offense and their wide receiving room that will be leading the charge. And, of course, give us your thoughts on the ECU defense, which may experience some of the same struggles that we might here in 2025 as well. Mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow on Thursday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.